Awesome, awesome. So thank you all for joining. I think we have the same roster as last week with the addition of Carl, which is awesome. I believe Carl is driving, so I know he's listening. So I won't get him to unmute himself. Drive safe, brother. Awesome. So yeah, again, thanks a lot for joining. I appreciate it. We have a couple of topics to touch and discuss and talk to you guys. And I think we should get started. So first, I wanted to start the meeting by inviting you to keep checking those trainings we have in place for you. You don't have to, like we said last week, watch all of them, in order, but just take what you are interested in. We have a lot of nice tips, hacks, and different ways to build rapport with your clients when you get in a call or when you are texting or messaging them. So that brings me to the topic of some scripts. So I'm going to share my screen in a second. And I want to show you a couple of things that we have in place, such as scripts for calls, for building rapport and doing different things. I was checking them earlier, and I think they add a lot of value. And I was thinking maybe, I don't know if we have enough time, I could share my screen, maybe show you a couple of videos, maybe one, maybe two of the trainings. So yeah, give me just a minute. You guys know my computer's super slow, so.
Well, so real quick, all you guys, I'm just curious, how many of you guys have like a script that you use with new prospects, like something that you've kind of polished, written down, the questions that you kind of start with, ask, building rapport, things like that? How many of you guys actually have like a structured script that you actually utilize?
I have a list of questions that I always ask a first-time client, first-time calls, not a script per se. I did do the first set of training vignettes. I think it's you, Matt, right? That does the.
There's some different ones. Yeah. The conversion training, there's a lot of it that is not me. And then the CRM training, there is, that's all pretty much all me. So depending on
I went through the training or just the first one that's listed, and I think it was maybe 13 or 14 little 3-minute vignettes. Picked up a couple of good tips, and they're quick and easy, and I take a couple notes, so it's helpful for people like myself I've been in sales in the past, but I've only been in mortgage sales for about a year or so.
Okay. Well, you do find that it is a transferable skill, right? Those trainings, I know some people get caught up. I started out more on the realtor side of things before we switched to only dealing with originators, and brokers. But the concepts are really the same. It is pretty universal. I know some people have been like, oh, they're talking about agents. That's real estate. But these are all kind of the same client. They all have the same goal, dream, or whatever of owning a house. So that sales process is very similar across, from coming on both of those sides. And a lot of it is, there is so much that is, building that rapport and just getting in, building the rapport, getting past the objections, right? Asking the correct questions, that kind of stuff to hit on the emotion, because we're all very emotional. We in sales, we buy on emotion, and then justify it with logic. So if you are able to make that connection, and that really is a lot of the purpose of the script, is to kind of make that connection while getting the information that you need. The other advantage of having like a script that you work off of is if you're doing the same process over and over again, you'll start to see where the gaps are, or where things maybe aren't hitting right, or questions that you should be asking, or all that. For us and our sales guys, and most sales teams, there is a certain amount of reviewing your calls, listening to your calls. If you're using, making your calls through the CRM system, it's going to record those calls. So it gives you that advantage of being able to like review things and see like, oh, where did things go south, or where could I have improved or done better, or asked different questions. If you're just always winging it every time, you're never going to know. You're never going to know, like, what did you do differently? Like it just is much harder to troubleshoot, So, and so that is why, like, the script that we have in there is, there's some psychology to it, but it's also just been a very battle tested kind of script that everyone in our call center is using, and the clients that we have that are seeing a lot of success are the ones that kind of adhere to some sort of script, if not ours, then something that, that they've developed over time. And you'll find that your conversions will get better, your conversations will be better the more you're sticking to something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a system.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So yeah, we have a couple of scripts. Some of them are really flexible between realtors and LOs. We have different like placeholders. The offer really in this case is first-time home buyers or refinance to get them a loan. So you'll have their information when you get the lead. You know how to go to additional info and see all of the answers. So when you call them, that's the offer. Like, hey, I see that you, for example, hello, am I talking to? Yeah, I see that you filled out a survey from my ad in Facebook. I wanted to, do you have 5 minutes to talk? Something like that. And let me share my screen and show you where you can get to those scripts. So right here, we are in the sample account. And if you scroll all the way down, so I have a bunch of options over here because I'm an admin. You're only going to have some of them. But if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the lead follow-up and conversion training. So when you click on that, you can see all of the categories that we have for the different trainings. So scroll down a little bit. And we have the script training and walkthrough. So these are videos that will help you, get the best out of these scripts. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the scripts and resources, and we have all of the documents. So we have for realtors, foreclosure, the ones that we want to check. Well, I would suggest that you check all of them, but this mortgage lead script, it's more specific to the LO. So you just click here to access it, and it'll open a Google Doc. And you can download, you can copy. So there we go. So I was thinking, I see that Frank is driving. I wanted to ask Frank that maybe we could do sort of like a role play.
I can drive. I can talk and drive at the same time.
Okay. So maybe you can be the client. I have terrible English, so I don't know.
I think I'm sorry. There's a couple things that we can look at here. I think one of the more useful things, if we are going to look at any kind of a little role play here, is really the objections. As far as I think the trap that a lot of people
objections are the most important thing.
The trap that a lot of people fall into with the role play is being very amicable and being very like the lead that is like, ready to buy. The reality is that there's going to be a lot of people that you talk to that they need to be, and again, this is why in the script, they need to be reminded like why you're actually talking to them, that they did enter their information. And that you are only, reaching out to help them because they requested more information. People have such a short attention spans. And then the other thing is there's a lot of people that are very, I think us as humans, we tend to have kind of knee-jerk reactions, right? When you walk into a store, you walk into Macy's, and you go to and you're looking at some outfits. A sales rep comes up to you and they go, "Oh, can I help you find anything?" 99% of the time, at least for me, most people I think are going to be like, "No, I'm just looking. No, I'm just looking." Right? It's this automatic reaction to these things, and so you get a lot of people on the calls that will say, "Well, I just want to know what the rates are," or I was just I was just curious what I could afford, but they don't really want to give any information, and you have to realize that a lot of this is just smoke screens. They're just a reflex action that we have in society, and learning how to kind of just keep probing, keep asking, keep having that conversation, and just showing that it's not high pressure, that kind of stuff is helpful in itself. So what I would like to do is if maybe this isn't, I don't know, is anyone open to doing like a little role play right now live on the call, or I know it's putting people on the spot.
I am. Objections are the most important part of what we do, because like you just said, when someone says, "Hey, I just want to know what your best rate is," great. That's an objection in itself, because they really want you to say a rate that they're not happy with, so they can say, "Okay, thank you," or a rate that they're happy with and say, "Okay, thank you," when the response should be something along the lines of, "Hey, rates change daily. Right now, our rates are anywhere between 2.6 and 3.2%, depending on what you're looking for." And then they're going to be like, "Well, what do I need to qualify for that?" And then that's when you start to say, "Well, I need, 2 bank statements, all these other things."
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I was just watching a YouTube video earlier today of the classic "sell me this pen," right? Yep. So anyone who's familiar with sales knows the "sell me this pen" thing, right? And it was Jordan Belfort who was I was watching a little bit, and he was in a round table discussion. Someone said, "Hey, has anyone done this selling a pen?" And the thing is, he was saying, and this is interesting to me, that the exercise is really not, and with sales is really not about, like, most people will be like trying to tell you all the good things about the pen, why you should take the pen, and it's a beautiful writing instrument, and it fits so nice in your hand, and it writes so smooth, and it's beautiful black ink, all that kind of thing. He said, the exercise, what it's really showing and asking is, a good salesperson will immediately go into questioning. Because unless you understand the client and where they're coming from and what their needs are, everything, their timeline, their price point, like all this kind of stuff, unless you understand that, you can't really give them a product. You can't really give them an answer. And that goes to like what Frank is saying. It's like, they go, "I just want to know the rate." It's like, absolutely. Well, let me ask you, are you currently employed then? And then and it's like, if you're able to just kind of get into it and ask the right questions, then you can go and like give them the right product, or you're able to disqualify them and say like, "No, I don't have a product that's going to fit for you right now. This is what you need to do." And you can steer them in the right direction. But if you don't ask the questions, and you're just giving out like, "Oh, well, the rates vary and it's this and this," and like you start answering that, then you're giving them reasons to say no. You're giving them reasons to not continue the conversation with you. Does that make sense?
Yep. So has anybody else on this call today been in sales before mortgages, or any sales other than mortgages?
Yeah, I know Scott said he did. Yep.
Yeah. So like Matt just said, the first thing, the most important thing is to determine the client's needs. Because you can tell me until you're blue in the face that you want to buy a home, but if you're self-employed, you're going to have a different rate than somebody that's employed with a W-2. If you can't prove income and you can only provide bank statements, then you're going to have a different rate than somebody that's traditional financing. So that's when you have to educate the client. So I spend the vast amount of my time trying to educate people on just the different programs, and then asking, "Hey, so which one do you think fits your needs?" So I do it sort of reverse. I provide information, and then I sort of say, "Which one do you like better?" to try to make them choose one. and then it boxes them into committing without them realizing that they're committing.
Nice.
Yep. Yep. Benjamin, do you want to share your screen of the script again?
Absolutely.
And there is as you saw, Scott, there is like a a video that goes along with it that does do a little bit more of in-depth walkthrough of this. But it is good to kind of, like I said, familiarize yourself with it. If you do not have a script, I think this will kind of help put you on the right path. And then it's making it your own. I mean, you never with any of this stuff do you want to be like reading verbatim or sounding like a robot. Unless you're a polished actor, it's really hard to read these things. So it is mainly about like, making it part of your own and how you would normally talk. But there are some parts in here of like asking to, what our intention behind the questionings are, or what we're looking to kind of response we're trying to get out of the prospect. And the reason why we're asking some of these questions. So like the sparking the conversation and the building the rapport and all of that kind of thing is really powerful. People people will like to work with people that they like, know and trust, right? It's the cliche of that, the know, like, and trust. So this is all trying to bridge that gap and get you into their inner circle as quickly as possible. And I know what's hard is that we have a tendency of wanting to just cut to the chase, and they want that too. And so you have to sometimes take that step back, because we all want to kind of cut to the chase of like, well, are you employed? What kind of down payment do you have? When are you looking to move? What's your FICO score? But if you just jump ahead and go into that, you're going to have a difficult time. You're going to have a difficult time. People do need to kind of warm up a little bit. And so that's really the whole purpose of this, is to, again, show yourself as like a, human, a person that you're trying, that, cares about helping them. They are raising their hand, asking for help. It may not be realistic for them right now, but like, showing that, you're treating them with respect and that kind of thing, goes a long way. And then like Frank said, it is overcoming some of the objections. People will come up with, why they don't want to give their info, or that they're not ready. They're looking in 6 months. You get that if they're like, 6 months, 9 months from now. It's like, well, if we were able to get you at a great rate and get you out looking for houses, and you found a house tomorrow, would you not do that? And it's like, oh, well, no, I guess if it was the right house and the rates were good, it's like, okay, so there's things that just kind of keep things moving.
Yeah. And that's the discovery call. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Awesome. Cool.
Sorry, let me see here. So, just looking, didn't see a whole lot of questions.
Yes, we have a couple of questions. Let me pull that.
Let's see.
Sheet.
Moshi, Tim. So the quality leads, Tim. I kind of want to, we can talk about that a little bit. I guess the first question is getting, taking this opportunity for me to get a little bit of feedback of like, what you're experiencing right now. And are you having conversations, or are we talking about FICO scores? What is, maybe tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, just in full disclosure, I haven't been able to get on the sites. I'm having issues, and Benjamin and I are getting that worked out. But
Okay.
the main thing has been when I do get a lead for a purchase contract, it seems like almost everyone says they're looking for 300 to 400,000 and their income is less than 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
FICO score is fair, if best. But that seems like, I think I've received like 6, and I would say 5 are like that.
Yeah.
And I've called them all, and only one has answered, which again, I'll keep calling them, but only one has answered in their first comment, "Oh, you have the wrong number."
Yeah.
And it was a female voice, but the name that I got was male.
Okay.
And again, I know that's nothing that you all control, but it's just, the first shoot out of the door, so to speak, is, they're not as quality yet.
Right. Right.
Now, I'm sure they get better, and it depends. I haven't been able to see what the ad is running, because again, I can't get on the system for some reason, and I think I figured it out, Benjamin. And so I don't, I think it's all first-time home buyers, but they don't have, a clue to what they can afford.
Yep. Yep.
And I haven't been able, I've sent emails and I've called and sent emails, but, really no response. Now, 2 people have tried to fill out applications and then just stop midway.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which that happens at, periodically. That's to
Sure.
me not an issue either.
Yeah, definitely the online, 1003 online applications are, it is a big ask for them to fill all that out when they're coming from, Facebook and that kind of thing, which is
Right.
why, we have that survey first, before, so at least you're collecting their contact information and some of the basics.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as far as quality goes, I do like to talk about that because to be honest, it doesn't get really better. Okay. What happens is what we're doing is we're getting a lot of leads and it's a numbers game.
I understand. Yeah.
So it's really, it's not necessarily better. It's just that is all percentages remaining the same, right? 10% of 10 leads is you're only getting 10% of 100. Now you got 10, right? So that's really what it boils down to. The whole thing is to find that balancing act for yourself. And do you have the our sales agent team, the ISA team, making calls for you? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, and it's great that you're making calls as well, because, but at the end of the day, there is this balancing act of like, wanting to, you need to be diligent, but you also don't want to waste your time. Right. So it is trying to kind of figure out that balancing act. I know Benjamin, it's good that you're back in the system. He will help you develop your smart lists, which we can add some filters so that you're only able to, so then you can just concentrate on the ones that are actually good. And the other ones, it's like, yes, the sales team will follow up. Yes, the automated emails and texts will go out, but you're not going to be investing extra time and energy into the people that may not be high quality to begin with. And other than that, it really is a little bit of a numbers game. We are shifting some of our marketing efforts to some of the other platforms. We're testing, we just are actually launching tests on TikTok. Facebook also does, of course, Instagram, but we're finding that, social media is never changing landscape, right? So Facebook is kind of going down and up and down a little bit, and TikTok is really taking off. So we're exploring that, and YouTube is also a really good source. Now, TikTok is similar to Facebook in that it's interruption, right? Someone's not on TikTok because they want to buy a house and look at mortgages. They're on there to look at, funny videos or whatever their interests are, and they get interrupted by the ads. So that's similar to Facebook. YouTube is search. So people are actually searching for information. And so we're able to attach ads to the things that people are searching for, and they are looking for houses or buying houses or how to fix their credit or how to get approved for a mortgage. And so those will probably be better quality leads. And that's something we're looking to test and get into. So the lead quality, I mean, we always hope that it will get better, and it will get a little bit better because we're always training Facebook. But overall, I don't want to set this expectation that, month 2 or in a few weeks, as just dramatically, you're going to see like night and day, difference in the quality of leads, right? So it's just kind of keeping the eye on the, looking for the gold nuggets, right? And keeping the eye on that goal there and not worrying about all the ones that suck, right? Scott?
I have a comment and a question.
Yep.
So first, my comment is the sales that I was in, and this was 15 years ago. I sold radio advertising for 6 years. And so I don't have really the experience with social media advertising, but I do know for radio, and I assume it's similar with social media, you wanted to get a frequency of 3 times before, a listener really kind of got it.
Yep.
And I can also say from personal experience, I don't typically buy things off of Facebook, but I did recently, a couple of months ago, make a purchase, and I had seen this ad like for months.
Yeah.
And I finally said, I really think I want that. I really think that's a cool thing. So I clicked it and I bought it. So my success rate for these ads, which have only been running for less than a week, I was actually just messaging back and forth with one of our fellow clients here, and I've gotten 4 leads, and I had it wasn't even an appointment. It was the first time I called. He called me right back, and we filled out an application over the phone. That was earlier this week, and I got him pre-qualified. And then I got a lead this morning. I was actually at an event, so I called her just because I knew I couldn't do an app or anything, but I set up an appointment for this afternoon. So 2 out of 4, and I know that's not typical, so I'm not saying everybody else should be that way, but from previous, I agree with the statement earlier that you don't want to waste your time on those people that because I've been on other lead platforms where I got a lot of sub 600 FICO scores and sub 30,000 income, where they want a $400,000 house. It's unrealistic,
right?
But so I was saying earlier this morning that I'm cautiously optimistic, that this what I don't know, and my question is for the $900 ad spend we do on Facebook, how many ads are we getting? Are those going to end? Or are those going to go all the way through the month? Are they going to keep showing up in these people's feeds? And then some of these other ones like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, are those going to be paid where we do another ad spend, or are we going to be able to get those out into the system for free? Yeah.
Great questions, and awesome hearing those results. And yes, they're not necessarily typical. It completely depends on the area, the competition, so many things like that. As far as the ads go, we run them 24/7, 365. So unless we're told to stop, we will run them through Christmas. We'll run them always. They just are going because that's how social media is. It never sleeps. So we typically, when we say a $900 a month ad budget, typically if we're saying up for Facebook, we're just saying up at $30 a day, as kind of our blanket, and then it just all averages out. With what we're doing with TikTok, so I guess a little bit of history with Sweps. Originally, we were we were setting up a separate Facebook ad account for each of our loan originators that we're working with, and we were putting the loan originators credit card on the account so that they were being billed directly by Facebook. And while that was good in some ways, it was bad in other ways. One of the bad things, or some of the bad things, is that Facebook, when you start a new ad account, charges you daily. So everyone was being bombarded with like $30 charges every day, which you can imagine raises everyone's anxiety, and and so that wasn't really beneficial. The other thing that we realized is it wasn't necessarily allowing us as a company to explore some of the other platforms like TikTok, like YouTube, like Google, in ways that we wanted to. We didn't have those budgets because they were directly tied to Facebook. So we made the decision and made the switch, I want to say 6-7 months ago, to instead, collecting the ad spend, and then it enables us to kind of play with that a little bit. So we're still doing mainly Facebook for everyone as we're testing, but there are a few clients who are actually not on the call right now that we are looking to do some that we're doing testing with TikTok and with YouTube and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, and I was talking to Benjamin actually earlier about this because we were talking about the same thing. With ad budgets and with Facebook, there's a minimum like viable ad budget, right? If lead costs $12 and you're only spending $10 a day, well, then you're really only going to get like 1.2 leads, So it could be like 2 or 3 days in between getting a lead off of Facebook. You reach this tipping point where it's like, it's not even worth it to run it, because Facebook needs a certain amount of data. It needs a certain amount of clicks in a weekly period in order to optimize. As soon as you fall below that threshold, it's not getting enough data. It's anemic. It's like, you're starving the campaign literally. And so you're not going to get good results. So there is a balancing act in there. And at the end of the day, like our goal is to get you guys the best results and the leads wherever they might be. So that's why we're like, okay, if we can do some testing like this, we find that really Facebook is no longer advantageous, we may pull off of Facebook completely. Because it's like, at the end of the day, it's a matter of like, it's getting the opportunities and getting the quality and the quantity at the best cost per lead. And I don't care what platform that is on. Like my goal is the leads. My goal is not like, oh, we are on Facebook or whatever. So it's, again, like a kind of a balancing act with all of that, if that all makes sense. So yes. So as far as like Facebook goes 24/7, about $30 a day. For some people, they're performing great. Other people, not as good. And so for the people that are not performing as well, that is where we're really looking to look at, trying some of these other platforms.
What I've noticed, to sort of piggyback on what Scott said, is I noticed deals come in ebbs and flows. So,
Yep.
And just in sales in general, it's always been like that. Like you'll have a run where you get lead after lead after lead after lead, and then you'll have a dry spell where so many leads won't come through. And it's sales in general is like that. And I don't know what it is. It's like when your hand is hot, it's like a baseball player or a basketball player. You try to get that person the ball when their hand is hot because something is drawing people to them at that particular time. And I don't even think an algorithm can really, say what it is at that particular time. It's just the way sales cycles go,
Yep.
It's sometimes you get hot and sometimes you get cold, and you just have to capitalize on those times when you get the majority of the leads, and when you get the majority of quality leads. Like you're going to get quality leads, ebbs and flows too. You're going to have a time where everybody's going to be under 579. You're like, oh, these deals suck, but then you just transfer them to your credit repair partners. But then you're going to get you know, a slew of deals where you're going to have 660 or better, or 700 or better. They come, everything in sales comes in ebbs and flows. I promise you that.
Yep, 100%. The yeah, and you know, and Facebook, TikTok, like all the platforms, they all have their own different kinds of algorithms. There's a lot of things that you know can affect ad performance. We do find like a winning ad creative, that is the images and the copy, the words. We find that and can dial that in, but that doesn't necessarily mean the ad is still going to perform, because like you said, you're going to have seasonality. You're going to have how many people are on at any given time. You're going to have competition within the market. How many other loan originators are running ads, or you know, marketing agencies are running ads for them in that particular area. You know, how broad of your area is, how many, what is the population? There's just so many things. And then, like I said, Facebook is continually, and Google as well, TikTok as well. They're always changing their algorithms, you know, and so it can be very up and down. Now, I'm in, you know, a handful or two of different marketing Facebook groups, and man, every time the algorithm goes south, it is like, it just blows up. It was like, here, everyone's seeing your leads go crazy. Oh my God, oh, the cost, oh, I can't get this. Is, you know, or sometimes we had this happen last year where Facebook, you know, they throw down the ban hammer. All of a sudden, even though we're always running within compliance and we're always really good about all of it, running under the proper categories, they'll just go and like, they'll be like, oh, we did something, and all of a sudden, like, you know, thousands and thousands of ad accounts just go down. And then you end up with support, and they go, oh, it was a mistake in the algorithm, and we do human review, and you get it reinstated. It's like stuff like this just I mean, that's the fun of digital marketing, you know. But that's, you know, that's why we're here handling it for you. But it is hard. Like we had a client that was with us, got some great results, and then decided to take a break for a couple months. And we kept everything, you know, on the back burner for him. And he came back and he was like, hey, you know, here's budget, let's turn it back on. And we always say like, hey, things change, you know, just because it was working then doesn't mean it's going to work now. And, you know, sure enough, I should have probably like not said anything at all, but sure enough, it performed horribly. And it was like the same ad and the same copy. And he was very frustrated. He was like, I thought we were just turning it back on. Aren't you know, there's this expectation that like it was at this, you turn it back on, it's going to be like that. And it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the data, Facebook, if it does not receive data or enough data for a certain amount of time, it's like a full reset. You're starting back from scratch. So like I said, even though we start from things that we know work and the targeting we know works and all the stuff that we know works, it doesn't mean it's going to work again once you turn it off and turn it back on, which is another reason why sometimes it's like, it's working, don't mess with it. You know, people are like, oh, can we change this? Can we do this? It's like, no, it's working.
Don't touch it.
Like, yeah. Let's not touch it. Yes, Brianna.
So when that happens, what kind of things do you take as steps to like try to make it work again? Like when something's not, do you change the copy? Do you change like the picture with the ad, or what kind of things do you do at that point?
Yeah.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So the same thing that happens when something is performing, you turn it off and it stops performing, works the same way. So if it's not performing sometimes, maybe turning it off and turning it back again will work. It happens. It has happened for me and my clients, and it's crazy. And yes, we do many things. We change the creative, we change the pictures, copies, and the targeting area. We mess with really specific little details that is going to make them perform.
Yeah, it's as much it's science, and so it's like science. You're testing, right? So some of the things that we do. This is a great question. Don't stop me if I get too deep. I sometimes geek out. But the first thing that we always test is the creative, which is the images. that's what really stops people when they're scrolling. It's going to be that image, right? And then in fact, they show it's really like the 3 steps, right? People see the image, then they read the top line, and then they read the headline. And it's like there's this kind of jumping thing. They do eye tracking, you know, to see this. So the creative is the first thing that we test, seeing if refreshing the creative makes a difference. The other thing is that, so if we do a target, say, what area are you in, Brianna?
Arizona.
You're in Arizona. Okay. So if we're targeting Scottsdale, and so we put a pin, we say Scottsdale, it says like the center of Scottsdale, and then it does a minimum radius 15 miles, which I know kind of broad, goes a little broad, but that's the minimum that Facebook will allow. So if we're doing that, say the population is, I don't know what it is, I'll throw a number out, 200,000. Okay.
It's more like 1 million, something like that.
I'm just playing with numbers. 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
You have a $30 a day budget. Okay. You are really only going to be seen by about 2,000 people, 3,000 people out of that. So what Facebook does, even though your targeting is the same, it's taking a subsegment of that. It's guesstimating based on the words that we use. It's going to guesstimate like, okay, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about mortgage. We're talking about this, that. It analyzes the copy, the algorithm, and then it's trying to place it in front of the people that they think is going to get the response. So that's why we can optimize for views and impressions, which we don't do because that gets us nowhere. We go for conversions, which is that someone clicks on the ad, puts in all their information in the survey, and then when they hit that landing page, we trigger the pixel to let Facebook know a conversion event has happened. So Facebook is kind of making judgment calls. So sometimes what we'll do is as simple as like Benjamin said, just relaunching it. We'll sometimes like reset it and it'll all just show it to a different segment of that total population. And we may hit that great pocket. Other times we'll go and do what's called a 3x3. So we'll actually take 3 different images and 3 different images in one ad set, and we'll have 3 different ad sets. They're all exactly the same targeting. Everything is the same, but what will happen is Facebook will show it to three different subsects of that total population of that 200,000. That making sense? So what we're doing is we're playing the odds a little bit more, right? Instead of doing a test and being like 1 and just being like, oh, find this one subsegment, where we'll be like, oh, let's try 3 at once, you know? So that'll be one thing. Sometimes we'll do other things like Facebook may perform better sometimes when you target a city. Other times it performs better if you go by a county. And other times it'll go better if you go full state. So sometimes we'll test that kind of thing as well as our geographic targeting, even moving like the pin. Like if I say Scottsdale, and we do a 15-mile radius and it's from the center of Scottsdale, I can move that pin to one of the suburbs, but still encompass Scottsdale and get completely different results. You know, so again, it's a little bit of trial and error, but there's best practices in things that ways that we have of testing things. Almost like I said, with the script, it's like we know, okay, we're going to try testing this first. Did that work? No. Okay, now we're going to try this. That work? No. And we just continue going through our testing until we find the magic combination.
Yeah.
Honestly, there have been times where we cannot get anything to work and we beat our heads against the wall and we're just, as frustrated as you guys with trying to get things to work. And it's like, and sometimes it's the same time, sometimes it's like the same state,
Yeah.
it's like, sometimes it is a little bit of a mystery, how it works or why it doesn't work. But we at least we're starting off from all the things that we know work, and then it allows us to test from there. that help?
That's
Yeah.
good information.
And sometimes when it doesn't work, trust me, it's not for a lack of trying. We have a
No,
team
it's
Sure.
dedicated to check those accounts on a daily basis, everyone's accounts, if they're underperforming, if maybe the quality of the lead or the amount of leads that we're getting is not there, we're going to keep on trying. When we do this thing called a split test, and we do the exact same ad, match it against the other, half the budget, and see which one win. And the one that wins, we're going to stick to it for a couple of days. So we're doing tests every 2-3 days. So, it's certainly tricky, and that's part of the algorithm. Part of the algorithm is that we don't understand it at all.
Are you guys open to ideas? Like,
We're always open to testing things. It's
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, if I think of like some ideas of things to test, even, because in my case, I think my ads aren't working that well. And so if I have ideas of different types of things to try to run, is that something that we can just do to see, if anything works?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as I'm looking, and I can share real quick. So I'm looking in your account right now.
Yeah.
And it looks like yours are still in review.
We had an
What does
issue.
that mean?
We had an issue with Facebook. We were supposed to launch a couple of days ago, I believe 3 business days ago. I think it was on Thursday. And Facebook just didn't let us until today, I believe.
Oh, really? Well, that explains it. Golly, I just was like, wait a second.
And we'll do better about communicating any kind of issues like that, and we'll make sure we can add time onto the back end of your agreement to make sure we, if there was any delays because of Facebook or something like that, that you get all that time that it's should be running. But yeah, it looks like that's why you're not getting anything. That would explain it. And
things aren't running, then it's the wheel's not turning. So that makes so much more sense. I was like,
and again, this is all the reasons why we're always looking to experiment and try to get off of Facebook, because no one wants to have all their eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there is enormous opportunity in Facebook, in TikTok. We're really excited about that. And that's also why we are looking to get all of you guys a Google My Business. If you don't already have Google My Business, optimize that and get your listing so we can start getting some organic, hopefully some organic traffic for you guys, as well as give you a place to send people for reviews, because that's all gonna help you. I know that we've had some clients that have asked about, doing video, that kind of stuff. Again, it all becomes your comfort level and how much time and bandwidth you have. Certainly video is super hot. Facebook loves video. TikTok loves video. It definitely helps the algorithm. It definitely helps, you to connect with people and to set yourself as an expert. So if you have that like I said, that bandwidth and comfort level of doing that, and sometimes it is getting out of your comfort zone a little bit to do that, but you get better at it. These things really can help and make a difference. And if you do develop some video that you see is resonating or with people, or is answering a question that's really common that you hear a lot, we can actually allocate some of your ad budget to retargeting using that video. So people see your ad, like Scott was saying, of people seeing things multiple times. They see your ad, and then all of a sudden they see a video where you're setting yourself as the expert and answering some question. And all of a sudden now they know, like, and trust you a little bit more. Now they have a name, they have a face, they hear your voice. Those are all very powerful ways of connecting with people that you're not really getting with the ad. The ad works, but Yes, there's the I would love if I could do video for everyone, but I realize that's a big ask for most people. Most people are, not really comfortable doing that. And it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I was telling Benjamin, I made an ad last night. It's a 60-second ad. It took me 12 times of doing it in over 2 hours, to get it right. It's like,
Yeah.
it can be a commitment for some people. But it can
Search
also
and
pay off. It can also pay off. And with the content library, if you're looking for ideas, obviously you can follow colleagues and other people, see what they're doing. But we also have the content library, which can hopefully just provoke some ideas. It's always just like a lot of this is not reinventing the wheel. You're answering the same questions that other people have answered, and it's not really new information in anything that we're putting out there. It's just that it's from you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, definitely we love to test and explore and see if we can, like I said, my goal is not to be like feeding Mark Zuckerberg. Like my goal is to be feeding you guys and so it's like wherever that happens to be, I'm going to be looking for it. I'm going to be going for it. And that's why, my job is spending time talking to colleagues and masterminds and figuring out the next thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
100%.
sense.
But but Benjamin definitely will reach out to you and let you give you updates on what's going on with your campaign.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, and this is again like one of those reasons why there are times we go and we, get it all set, we launch the ad, and then it sits there in limbo with under review.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and sometimes it's just like killing it and just doing it again, and then it works. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like
that's why TikTok is going to help us so much, because we're going to record a set of videos that are professionally made, and we're going to just copy and paste and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Nah, not really. It's going to always work. I know. Just like Facebook works, it's a bit tricky. Yes, it is tricky, but it works. It has worked in the past for many clients. It's just a matter of keep on looking for ways to improve that and to maybe get out of those tricky situations like this where we were scheduled to launch and it just didn't work for many reasons. So sometimes Facebook bans the accounts of clients, and it's why, and we need to send out a review and send like an ID verification, and that's a computer that does it. It's not like a human verification. So it might be the same person, same name, same picture, but still the algorithm is not going to let that account be unbanned for some reason. So it's like Matt said, it's a balancing act.
We get things sorted out one way or the other.
Well, yeah, we do, of course we do, but it's part of that tricky or that those hurdles that we want to move away from, and get you guys the best results possible for your money. So that brings me to the next topic, and I would love to
hold on. Did you have any other questions, Brianna? Or
my bad.
Oh, I can maybe discuss with Ben later, because I was just thinking like there's some opportunity. I don't know how specifically you can target people on Facebook. Like how much data does Facebook have on people, and how much do they let you like put in as like parameters for showing an ad to someone?
Yeah, so there's definitely some things we can test with that. Generally, Facebook shifted about a year ago from being very like focused to wanting more just wide open data.
General.
So that was one thing, and then of course there was Cambridge Analytica fiasco that happened a while ago with all the data leaks and then discovering how Facebook was using data. And so then they created between that and not the NMLS,
iOS 14.
equal housing
Oh.
came, went after Facebook because
Mhm.
as marketers, we were kind of doing some discriminatory practices in that we were targeting we were allowed to target zip codes. So we go after like the most expensive zip codes, or you could used to be able to target financial data because Facebook is collecting all of that stuff and cross-referencing it with the credit bureaus and that kind of stuff. So we used to be able to go after income brackets. We used to be able to say like, oh, certain credit cards, certain things like that. And so then they created special ads category, which is what we have to run under for any kind of financial or housing. So it eliminates us being able to target age, race, zip codes. That's where they made the 15-mile radius. So some of those kinds of things have disappeared. Of course, everyone freaked out, and then it ended up being okay. Because at the end of the day, Facebook isn't giving us access to the data, but they still have it all. And that's where I say, like, when their algorithm, when they see our copy and it says we're talking about housing and buying a house and mortgages, they're like, oh, okay, well, we're going to show it to these people because they're going to be most likely interested. We have played with trying to finesse things a little bit, like go after, add interests of like certain country clubs or golf or cars, BMW, Lexus, Jaguar, that kind of stuff, to try and get like, the higher income people, that kind of thing. Doesn't it sometimes it's just weird. Sometimes it kind of works, but overall it just doesn't seem to, Facebook doesn't seem to be real happy with it. And we tend to get worse results overall. But again, it is something we're always like looking at and willing to try. So if if that's something that you're open to, we can look at kind of doing a split test, like I said, of maybe a wide open versus really narrowing down and focusing on some specific interests. Nope. And I think you froze.
I think we lost her.
I left her speechless.
She can check the recording later. So
and Scott, I see. Oh, there she is. I don't know how much you missed of that.
I heard most of it. So basically can't get too specific. I was just thinking about how, like, with the loan limits going up for the new year, how cool it would be to run an ad about, like, got a jumbo loan, let's, with a balance under 645, let's refinance to conventional. And, rates are going to be better than, the jumbo loan. So if people can refinance to a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conforming loan, there's an opportunity in the first, from now to the first little bit of the year to try to get those converted over.
Yep. The refinance campaigns, they can be good. They're a little tricky, that they do tend to have a higher cost per lead because people generally, they're already owning a house, and so it's there's just more immediate value in that lead versus someone who's buying, and it could be 3-6 months kind of thing. So it is more competitive from just the marketing advertising side of things. The other caveat that I always like to talk about if we're talking about refinance loans is making sure that you really are competitive with the online brokers, Rocket, and that kind of thing, because these people are less about needing to be educated or needing to understand the process. It's dollars and cents, black and white. They really are rate shoppers. They really are. Like, the next thing they do after they talk to you is they're going to go to Rocket, or they're going to go to, they're going to go online and rate shop you, so so it's always like, so again, if you can be competitive,
course.
then it can be worth it. Otherwise, it can be like, yes, you get the leads, but you're just going to keep losing the deal.
Okay,
You know?
that makes sense. I definitely think I would be competitive. Like I could be, I think any retail lender for sure, working at a brokerage, I've seen rates that, you know, aren't offered by like Quicken or Loan Depot and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're certainly happy to help you, you know, explore that. We do have campaign, you know, refinance campaigns. And I think you're right. I mean, tapping into, you know, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out or the rates going up, and taking advantage while they can, is certainly a really strong message. And we'll get some good results as far as just getting opportunities. And then it's going to be a matter of converting them.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. Scott, I saw that you had unmuted. Did you have some?
Oh, no, I was just gonna interject that, you know, also, as far as what Brianna was just saying, I think once you get that rapport built, which can happen pretty quickly, you know, you're less likely to get rate shopped. And once they feel like they're your friend and you're on their team and you're trying to help them out, you know, if you and you can refer a realtor to them, which is, you know, a double benefit, then you know, you're a team between the realtor, yourself, and the client. So, you know, I definitely feel like that's the key, is to getting them on the phone, getting them pre-qualified, and then just you know, keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, definitely. Great stuff. Cool, guys. Well, I see we're getting, we went a little bit over here. That's fine. I'm, you know, happy to continue on, but I think probably you guys are wanting to get back to your day a little bit. Benjamin, I know you've tried interjecting a couple times. What's, you want to kind of wrap things up if anyone has any other questions or anything?
Yes, please schedule a time with me if you don't have it already. I'm going to meet with some of you in the next couple of days. So, you know, any questions, concerns, feedback, whatever, any comments, or if you just want to chat about whatever, just let me know. Okay. Brianna, I'm going to give you a call later. Because yeah, I apologize for that. It's been crazy days. So we were trying to fix that, but it took longer than we thought it would. So yeah, I think that without any further ado, we can, you know, close today's webinar, today's meeting. Super happy and excited for having you guys with us. Appreciate you, you know, taking the time to talk with us, to show interest in these topics, which at the end of the day, you know, are going to help all of us be better down the line. So thanks a lot. I will be traveling next week, so I won't make it for next meeting. I need to go back to my country, Venezuela. So I'll be there for a couple of days and I have to come back. So yeah, I think, you know, Matt will take care of that, hopefully, crossing fingers. But, you know, if it's not possible, then, you know, we can always move it, you know, I don't know. I know that in 2 weeks is going to be Christmas, so I don't think we're going to be meeting on that week. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no. We'll probably, we'll probably postpone any of our calls and let people enjoy their holidays.
Yeah, we'll probably pick it up back in January 2022, you know, coming back strong with lots of wishes and New Year's resolutions. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. As always, my pleasure. So yeah, I think.
So Ben, you'll call me later.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will.
All right, guys. See you later.
Guys.
Everyone have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.